Two crazy EZAs are coming to global Dokkan. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we are taking a look at the STR Vegito and Buuhan's EZA in a surprise turn of events thanks to the global producer letter, which I'm sure many of you have seen already. We have an announcement for the Buuhan and the Vegito's EZA coming to global quite early, I might add. These guys EZA'd at the tail end of the anniversary, the part EX of the anniversary on JP Dokkan back during February, but for some reason they've been moved forward. So in this video, we're going to talk about one, what they do, and two, what their EZA early may mean for global potential EZAs during the Golden Week celebration and EZAs moving forward now that they are no longer part of the 9th anniversary. So let's start by taking a look at the details for the EZA for the Vegito. I know it's probably been a minute since you guys have looked at what this guy is doing, but you got to understand how crazy they are. So on their 18 and 12 key, they are now raising attack and defense permanently, which is really, really good. It gives them that extra defense that they need to hold themselves over once they transform into Vegito. Their passive is key 2, attack and defense 200%. They get a 30% damage reduction and an additional key 2 per type key to obtain. They launch an additional attack with a 70% chance of becoming a super and have a medium chance of performing a critical hit. They get attack and defense 50% and launch a guaranteed additional super from their entry turn once only, and if HP is 77% or more. So basically, if you can keep up your HP, you will always be launching a guaranteed additional attack. If you fall below the 70%, then you won't be. Basically, it's how that works. And then they also get an additional damage reduction, chance of performing a critical hit 20% when you fall below 50%. Basically, when you're ready to transform. Now, the thing about this is, as long as you keep that HP up, you could potentially be triple, quadruple supering every so often. So that's really, really helpful in order for building that defense. Now, of course, they are an LR EZA with an active skill. Active skills cannot be changed, so their condition is the same as it was before, 77% or less from the 4th turn, which isn't too terrible, especially considering the length of some of these newer fights. Now, what we really care about is what happens once you transform him. Once you transform him, he is now greatly raising attack and defense for the turn, and he can potentially seal on his 18 key, which doesn't really help much of anything. By the time you get him out, most fights you're not going to be able to seal, but in the fews that you can, it is helpful. Now, once transformed, he will fully recover your HP once only. He has 3-turn guard and from the start of turn, and has key 5 and attack and defense 250% with a high chance of performing a critical hit. He has an additional chance of performing a critical hit 20% within the same turn for every attack performed. Basically, the more he attacks, the greater his critical hit chance. And counters also count for that attack performed. He gets an additional attack 30% within the same turn after receiving an attack. He reduces damage received by 30% and gets an additional damage reduction 30% when receiving normal attacks. So 60% reduction on normals. He counters those normals with tremendous power, which is a 400% multiplier, and has key 2 per key sphere obtained. He gets an additional 77% and of course has that 10-turn scatter effect. So he basically becomes, if you build up enough defense in his base, he will be near invincible by the point you get out Vegito. Supers may cause him some distress. However, that's what you have his scouter for, right? Use his scouter, place the unit appropriately, and all is well. He is insane. That critical hit that he's building now on his attacks received is very, very helpful. It means you can safely invest in full additionals for this guy, so that way you can have him prioritize getting those extra supers and dealing damage that way, since he's more or less going to be auto-critting after a couple of hits. So very, very helpful there. He is arguably one of the better LR EZAs. He doesn't have the candle to Super Saiyan Blue Evolution and UI Goku. Those guys are just far and above everything else, but this guy is tailing right behind them in terms of LR EZA. So really excited to be having this come to global. Hopefully we get the content to utilize him properly. We are getting a new red zone coming in this celebration, this Golden Week celebration, so hopefully we'll be able to utilize him properly there. Now, the other half of this unit, right, the Boo tanks, right, he is actually kind of insane. I'd almost argue that he's better than the Vegito, but let's take a look at what he's doing. So he's greatly stacking attack permanently. He's greatly raising defense for the turn on his 12 key. On his 18 key, he's greatly raising defense permanently and raising attack for the turn. So basically prioritize the 18 key, get that 18 key, get that additional attack, and now every turn you are both greatly stacking attack and defense. Maybe a little more attack depending on how many additionals you have in them. Now on his passive, he recovers 20% at the start of a turn, right? That's the crazy thing about Majin Power characters, is they all have that recovery. He also gets key to an attack defense 200%. He has a great chance of guarding all attacks, so that's a 70% chance to guard. He has a medium chance of evading enemies attack. He also has an additional 2 key per type Q sphere obtained. He also launches an additional super attack. So basically you are guaranteed to raise your attack and defense every turn at a minimum. He has an additional attack and defense 50% and guards all attacks for 1 turn from his entry turn, or if 90% or less from the start of turn. He has a chance of evading enemies attack 20% and survives KO's attacks once per turn if HP is 80% or less when receiving an attack. He has 12% HP recovery if you are 50% or below. So he's doing a lot of recovery. He's got some guard if you are above the HP, if you are below 90%, or he also has, what is that, 40% chance to evade, no, 50% chance to evade if you are below 80%. So very helpful there. Add on to that his healing. You're going to be able to like tank or dodge and then just heal up whatever you did take. So that's really good, all things considered. Now, because like the Vegito, this is an active skill, it cannot be changed. So it's the same as it was before, 50% or more from the 4th turn. Once transformed into the ultimate Buuhan here, he is now raising attack and defense for 4 turns on both his 18 and his 12 keys. So if you get those additional attacks, you're just going to build up to that 4 turns just a little bit quicker, which is helpful. Now, he will recover 20% HP at the start of every turn. He will get key 5 and attack defense 250%. He will launch an additional super attack for 3 turns from the start of turn. He has guaranteed guard and a high chance of evading enemies' attack. He also launches an additional super attack. He has key 2 per type key sphere obtained, and he has an additional attack defense 50% if performing an ultra super attack. He has the enemy action cancel ability within the turn for 5 turns from the start of turn. He has an additional attack defense 100% from the 6th turn. After that, he seals enemies super attacks for 5 turns. Although by the time you get out Buuhan, you're probably not going to be able to see this to begin with. He also has an additional attack 50% and temporarily upon his next attack if HP is 50% or more at the end of the turn, or if HP is 50% or less, he will recover at 10%. So basically, depending on your HP at the end of the attacking turn, he will either gain attack or he will recover HP, depending on where your HP is at. So this guy is actually insane when you consider all the things that he's doing, the guaranteed guard, the guaranteed additional super attacks, right? He is going to be hitting some silly numbers, dishing out some amazing damage, and taking most of whatever is thrown at him, right? Guard is nothing to joke at, especially when you have a unit that is launching multiple supers in the way that he is doing. So these guys are both really, I say it again, really good Easy A's, followed only by the LR 6th year anniversary Easy A's. They are no slouches and are going to be in a lot of good teams, right? We now know that the Golden Week celebration is going to be a Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Buu, who will both lead the Majin Buu Saga category. So these units will slide right into their teams and provide some excellent support and power to these teams. So really excited there to use them on these new teams. And if not, these guys are also on like STR Goku's team or Hirudegarn's team in the case of Buu. So there are places to use them and take full advantage of them. Now, I did want to talk about what this means for the celebration. So when we had predicted who was going to Easy A during this celebration, we had mentioned offhand that these guys could be Easy Aing during the celebration, but thought it was unlikely. Well, now that we know that these guys are the likely Easy A, there only leaves one other option, and well, I should say two other options, right? In terms of Dokkan Fest Easy A's. JP's already got this, so already got these Easy A's. They're gonna have to get something, right? So my guess is, as we believed before, that the Super Saiyan Goku and the Tech Majin Vegeta will likely be Easy Aing on both versions. Now that will mean that Global probably not going to get anything for the part 3 of the anniversary where the Easy A, Bootanks, and Vegito happens, because otherwise, right, I'm assuming this is going to be a Destined Rivals, right, which means this is going to be, for these two guys, this is going to be a 30 stone stage for the two of them, which means that there's no way they're allowing Global to get an extra 60 stones so for anniversary. So we probably won't get another one. So we'll probably get this, and we'll get the 60 stones early, but they won't make it up in the anniversary like they normally do when they move things around. I'm starting to think now, knowing that these LR Easy A's is coming into the celebration, there's now a very low chance that he Easy A's. They're probably going to hold off on him unless they decide to do him for something special. There's still, I think, the chance that this good Buu here could I feel like there's still a chance that this guy could Easy A during the celebration along with these guys. So 230 stone stages is likely to happen. So 60 stones, I think that's probably the most likely outcome. Now, the reason I think this moved forward, these two Easy A's for the Vegito and for the Buuhan, is one, partly because of the theme of this celebration, because if they didn't do this, Global basically has no team they can build properly with the two new units. But I do think what it is one, to give us a fighting chance against this stage here. You're going to need a lot of the recovery, and I'm betting Majin Power is one of the categories you've got to use, but also because I think they might just be advancing these guys forward for a worldwide celebration Easy A release, because I mean their 6th year counterparts Easy A'd already from the 6th year anniversary, so they would be next in line for LR Easy A's. So it stands to reason that there's a good chance these guys could pick up their Easy A around worldwide this year, which is why they went ahead and advanced Vegito and Buuhan early on Global, because they probably didn't want to get, like, these guys might be part of like a countdown to the worldwide celebration, and so they didn't want to be too close to Vegito and Buuhan, so they moved Buuhan and Vegito to a period that makes sense where we're doing Majin Buu Saga, and then we'll just open that up as we approach through August. That's just my guess. I could be wrong, but it's just kind of a thought I had. So guys, that is it for our video. That is the two new EZAs coming to global early. It's exciting. I know we all wanted Vegito to get his EZA, and we will finally be able to enjoy him on global after watching all those JP players have tons of fun with them. So guys, that's it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let me know which of these are you more excited for in terms of EZA, the Vegito or the Buuhan, and who do you think might be the other EZAs to counterpart these guys in the celebration, right? Because if we're getting this, JP still has to get a regular EZA, so wonder who that could be. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.